It is almost the middle of May, 13th of May. Michael Vaughan with Brian Acker. I see the green on the screen behind you. All-time highs in the Dow and the S&P. Yikes!
It is. Go figure, that's bad news to some people, but no, things are getting better. The economy is getting better, and we had a first quarter that the weather did affect a lot of the numbers, but we seem to be exhilarating out of the first quarter and into the second. And
but there's still a lot of people, and they say if it's an all-time high, it has nowhere to go but down. But in fact, it's not an all-time high if you look at the underlying growth.
Absolutely. I think I have a blog where if you looked at the S&P chart that seemingly everyone's looking at, it's a bit of an optical illusion. What that chart doesn't really show is how far we went down in 2008 in terms of where the market went, and really where the market is today relative to where the market's been certainly back in the last 30 years. We're only back, again comparing time frames, back to 1992, before the big bull market from 92 to 2000. That's kind of where we are in today's terms. So certainly back in 1992, coming out of the recession of 1991, certainly people didn't say it was bubble territory or was overvalued, certainly back in 1992. And the same can be said today. There's really no bubble going on here. It's just finally we're getting some positive momentum out of the economy, and you're seeing that translated in terms of valuation.
Well, your evaluation takes into account the growth on the balance sheets.
Absolutely.
And that's what you don't see on a stock chart.
Absolutely. So if you're just looking at numbers, those numbers look scary. But if you're looking at the underlying fundamentals, yes, we're making all-time highs compared to 2000, but you had 14 years of balance sheet growth. And these are the most profitable, the biggest, the largest companies in the world in terms of the S&P 500.
Now, what happened when some of the momentum stocks, the Teslas, got whacked recently? What happened? Where did the money go?
Well, what's fascinating about that is for the first time we've actually seen money circulate in the market, which is an indication of a healthy market. So the high valuation, the high flyers, the high momentum stocks that grabbed most of the headlines, certainly in the last quarter maybe.
Twitter, Netflix, Tesla.
Absolutely. So they got to a point, some would say overvalued. Money left that group and it circulated into the lower value group. We haven't seen that again for 5 years. Just in terms of money circulating in the market, trying to find value. That is a sign of a healthy market, and as opposed to money leaving the market. You made your gains and you don't trust the equity market. But this is more how markets function, and just in terms of selling the overvalued and buying the undervalued.
Now, TSX had a bit of a correction in the last couple of weeks, but one particular stock that you blogged on, Torstar, went off like a rocket. Explain that story. It brings out the cynic in me.
Yeah, well, there's a lot to be cynical about when we're talking about equity markets. But chronic underperformer.
Dead money for years.
Value trap, one might say. But 6 weeks ago, probably now 7 weeks ago, we had what we call as a positive transit. The stock price actually had a positive transit of one of our last lines, EBV -3, which
down at the bottom,
which indicates there's positive fundamentals happening.
Somebody knows something.
6 weeks later, again, no diminution in the stock price. Stock price goes flat, then all of a sudden the big announcement, they sell Harlequin, one of the most profitable subs of Torstar, and the stock pops 20%. So,
who was doing that early buying, do you suppose?
Well, we wonder. So again, we see this all the time. Certainly a blog piece. But once you have a positive transit of one of our structural lines, or EBV lines as we call them, that's an indication that there is positive news. Some people know that positive news before the rest of us, but it's just an example how the market and these structural lines function with each other, and how it pre-stages, if you will, some good news, or if you have a negative transit, obviously bad news.
So if you haven't read it on Model Price Guy, go to the blog now. Brian, great to see you. I'll be in June. Hope those green numbers hold up.
Michael, always good to see you.